Hello, Narnach here. Welcome back to Grim and Dawn. This episode we will be heading southeast from Homestead on our way towards the Pine Barrens. And we'll just see how far we will make it today. It's a couple of quests in the south for the Black Legion. Also seems like we just got surrounded by Mesmer and clones. This is not just 3 different ones, this is actually just one football that's just copying itself and trying to confuse me. Oh, wait. So the confusion is actually working since it seems like I am attacking the wrong football. This doesn't really have a moving health bar. Also, not having a health bar that moves. This one has a health bar that moves. Okay, stop working. Stop. Oh, it actually moved, the health bar. Dang. Or... Alright, this is one infuriating football. There we go. You. Just be knocked down. Yeah, okay, so... Let's actually just kick the ball around. Interrupts it, it knocks it down, and then once it's up again, we'll just knock it again. Okay. Okay, health bar still moving, so we're still on the right one, and there we are. Okay. I gotta say, if... No, it doesn't really have a health bar that keeps moving down, might as well give it up here. But luckily, I figured it out. One of the 3 is actually real. And can be hurt. And if you stun it or knock it down, then you're gonna be pretty alright. Let's see. Yeah. Earlier I created some more dynamite. You can craft it in Homestead and it's actually pretty affordable. Requires some pretty basic crafting materials, with the ether crystals being probably the most exotic of ingredients, which is to say they're not really that exotic at all. And you get 3 sticks at a time, so it's rather nice. I've come to have more elite or more epic items, blue items drop than I can use or stash away properly. So my current strategy is to keep the nicest, keep the set items, but the items for classes that I don't see myself playing anytime soon, I am using the invention option in Act 1 at Darlet, the inventor's assistant. You can actually invent on stuff, and that effectively you combine a blue or a better item with a stick of dynamite in order to explode it and unleash its magical properties. And that usually gets you some scrap and a crafting component. And sometimes you actually get purple crafting materials as well instead of simple scrap. So now, especially if the alternative is just selling it for like 1,000 iron bits or something silly like that, you might as well explode it and just get some useful crafting stuff out of it. On the way over here, I actually found a purple item. Though that is this one, the Trojan's Mantle. So of course the name suggests it's Arcanist related. And it's cold, lightning, frostburn, electrocute, cold vitality damage, shattered star, maelstrom, and it's part of the Trojan's Ascension, and I guess it +3 to star pact and +3 to wind devil. So I think this is an Arcanist and shaman hybrid item. So no, not gonna be for us, but every once in a while items do drop, and they drop when you least expect them to, because I think this one just dropped from just a random mob in just earlier on. I think it's dropped around here or something. It's just in the fields. So yeah, they have a small chance to drop anywhere, which is nice. So we'll just grab the quests and kill the beasties, because basically that's all they care about. Kill the beasties. Okay, so we have ourselves a waypoint. We have ourselves a bounty. Well, it's not even a bounty, but just a assignment to kill beasties. So we do it. Oh, this is part of some runs I've described in the past, which I've used for trying to obtain some specific crafting materials. So there's two ways to do it. You can take the top route and you can take the bottom route. This time, effectively just did a mental coin flip and ended up heading this way. You can also take the top route. I think it's slightly longer to get to the boss that way, but overall, it doesn't really matter all that much. And I think I'm actually still kind of taking the long route. But at least now we're walking into the Manticores here. And that is good. Gotta kill some Manticores for a chance, not even a guarantee, but just a chance at some of their venom. Also, these things have a pretty nasty alpha strike, so keep your Overguard at the ready to boost your regen here. Really, really works. And that's one gland, and that is all we need actually. So then all we need is the boss, which is on the other side. Okay. Let's do a little bit of animal herding, shall we? Oh, if they deem me interesting to this. That is, of course, one of the advantages of having played through the game multiple times. You roughly know where things are. Not gonna say an expert at navigating these places, especially since, well, it's basically been a full playthrough of the game since I last was here. I simply can't leave gear behind. That's... or drops behind. That just feels wrong for some reason. Okay, so those have a nasty alpha strike. Yeah, there's Mogara, and it is 80 something, and it's so purple 82. Okay, so that's 6 levels difference. Okay, let's just overguard a bit here. So just layering all the defenses here, because there's a lot of damage coming. But of course, once you take the sting, no pun intended, out of the initial attack, it's just me versus the boss. And the boss by itself doesn't have enough DPS to break my regen. And there we are. We even got ourselves a Manticore Eye. Poison glands, don't really care. Or actually, we already have one, so we don't need more. So that takes us back to the waypoint. We can hand that in. So we'll hunt down your beastie. We got some reputation. We got a Manticore sword. Another one over here. Mogara is dead. Long live Mogara. And then we of course have to go after Gloomweaver. Also, just realize, oh, we have to go back to outside of the Undercity. I actually forgot about that one. Rowari Legacy, that's not quite what we're doing. Ether Farm, we're not quite doing that one. Looking for eggs. Nope, nope, nope. That was crossing. Orange and slit. Oh, actually that's a side thing we still need to do at some point as well. But for now, we're actually looking at this area. But quickly we could just go back to the Broken Hills. Yeah, Broken Hills waypoint. Excellent. Chat with the ghost. Get ourselves a attribute point. Exactly. And then we can just go back. I'm just gonna portal back to where we were before assigning my point, just because otherwise I will forget and I'll try to portal out and ruin my portal point. Okay, so we gained a level. We're level 77 and quite a bit now. So we have Cadence. That was our goal for here. So now on the demolitionist side, grab Temper. And I think I'm just gonna spread the points here. So 1 point into temper, 1 into blast shield, and just level them up at a time. If I get some bonus points, I'm probably gonna put them into temper first to see if I can max that one out first. Because we're getting more damage over more defenses seems like a reasonable choice right now. Okay, and like that. Okay, stop fidgeting with the inventory and let's carry on. As I say, I made this run a couple more times in the past, just because now there's a lot of beasts here, which don't give you the ancient hearts, but also some things like the spikes. They do drop a bit, and it's a nice area that has a fair bit of purple mobs who tend to actually drop a decent chunk of items. Also, let's Overguard again here. And fair... Oh, accidental portal. No, just a fair chunk of mobs in general. It's a relatively efficient run, if you want to call it that. And while I normally... I do try to just take a bit more casual and relaxed approach to things. I must say that... No, this is the third time I'm going through the story with this character. And... for me, it's basically now getting to the point where I'm just trying to just cross things off of a list of stuff that needs to get done. And I just want to basically defeat Ultimate just to have had the experience. But the build itself, it's basically not really changing. Also, yeah, we can go here. But the build itself is not really changing. No, we're just tanky as hell. And basically what we're doing right now is just to see, can we actually make it all the way to the end game with this build, or are we going to break down on some kind of technicality or some kind of implementation detail of how this game works at the very end of the difficulty levels. And it's no helpful to just help establish a mental baseline for future characters. Because now, right now, 12,000 life, it's a ridiculous amount. I think if you got a 8 or 9,000 life and you would play a range build, you would probably be just as safe, maybe even safer, just because of the distance. I think this might not entirely be the dungeon I'm looking for. Well, we'll get here eventually, right? On the other hand, we are here. Might as well enjoy it. So, no, one of the things is right now I'm focusing on just seeing how far I can push the damage. Actually, in combat, 10,000. Out of combat, it's 7.5. I think it might even just drop down to around 7k DPS. But no, in combat, of course, with some procs, it goes up a little bit. But no, if a future build could have, say, 8 or 9,000 life and not be a build as a strict tank, and just keep my max resists and aim for a similar amount of just over 4,000 life regen. Of, no, not 4,000, 400. The numbers are a bit lower here, 440 roughly. Then, well, maybe even less. I could probably get away with less if I'm a range build, for example. And instead focus more on defense, focus more on crowd control, things like that. I got a suspicion it's probably going to be viable. But in order to determine that, also there is a regenerator here. It is useful to have experienced everything the game has to offer. And I must say that the fact that Grim Dawn actually has a relatively definitive ending to it, there's not only so much content, it is nice in terms of being able to just properly wrap up a series. Now you finish the Logorian, then you do the hidden path quests, ending of course in the Temple of the Three. After that you have the 3 quote-unquote roguelike dungeons, And then you could try to suicide yourself against the avatar of Mogdrogan. Oh, hello there, Ungolianks. I was looking for you. And no, from what I understand, the avatar of Mogdrogan is, well, he's pretty gnarly. I think originally it put in as a way to just have something that's not defeatable. And no, given the fact that it's still quite a while off, I haven't actually researched whether it is doable or not by just any casual build. But no, it's silly things like that to just look forward to at some point. But I also think that for maybe a next series, maybe just doing veteran and elite might be enough. Or maybe just sticking to a single playthrough on veteran, especially with the expansion. We're getting Act 5. Yeah, we're getting Act 5 added to the game, so that means even more story content. And normally, no, it takes quite a while to just play through the entirety of the story, because this is a pretty large and rich world. And you do a lot of character development during that time. Though, of course, that sets the top-end devotions, they do add some aspects to the build, though. So far, they haven't been build defining as much as more just build enhancing. But of course, that could just be a side effect of basically what I'm playing or how I'm playing it. Okay, let's just go through the other exit. Ooh, more spiders. No, but it's nice to just have done something just for the act of having done it, so to say. Just to get the achievement, get the medal, and get out. But most of my enjoyment often comes from doing the theory crafting, coming up with the build concept, and seeing if something is viable. And it's more the creative aspect that I enjoy. And I now know that once you basically make it into middle of elite, and you get all your core skills, or maybe even just finish up veteran, the build basically is not really going to change. So in terms of testing build viability, you're kind of done then. Ah yes, it's the unmarked cave over here that I was looking for. Walked into the wrong one the first time through. But no, sometimes you do have to try something to know whether you would like to repeat the experience, yes or not. Obviously, this is a slow, tanky build. It's definitely not a powerhouse by any stretch of the imagination. Then again, first hardcore playthrough, full playthrough. That is, of course, you wanna err on the side of caution. So that makes sense. But I got a suspicion that some other future characters might be a bit more efficient, a bit more aggressive, and as a result might go through the game's content faster as well, and maybe have less issues with higher difficulties or just how tanky things can get. And then doing elites and maybe even ultimate again, but those might just be a bit faster and a bit more efficient. No, never know. I think for now I'll just leave that on a case-by-case basis. Grim Dawn in that respect is a completely different game from Path of Exile, because in Path of Exile, I think the first 5, 6, maybe 7 playthroughs I just played through normal difficulty. And after that, once I defeated, at first it was once I defeated Dominus, and later on, actually once Act 4 got added to the game, once I defeated Malachi. I just considered my playthrough done, and I would start a new character and just start all over again from level 1. And it wasn't until Talisman League, I think in the fall of 2015, where I actually started playing through Cruel and Merciless difficulty. in order to get to maps and experience what maps is. And basically now I consider the leveling process. It's okay the first time I go through, though Path of Exile has the issue that your build doesn't really develop until you're basically at the halfway through Act 3. So that's, considering there's currently 4 acts, that's 2/3 through the game. That's basically where, or through the first difficulty, that's where the basic building blocks of a build come together. So you just want to get through the leveling experience as quickly as possible, and after that Cruel and Merciless are just a very cheap repeat of earlier content. So you just want to get to maps because maps is where it gets interesting, and then usually by the time I get to maps, but effectively it's more or less an infinite endgame. Then it's, I started with it, so I probably should set my sights on just making it to the highest tiers of maps, or currently going after one of the Guardians or something. And yeah, I'll die somewhere along the road. Because of course I play hardcore, and I definitely don't play the most overpowered builds. Just like in Grim Dawn, I imagine. Though I don't think Grim Dawn really has any builds that are completely broken. I think the power, the difference in power level between builds is a lot lower in Grim Dawn than it would be in a Path of Exile. But then again, I've only played a couple of builds, basically one of every class. So yeah, that would be difficult to judge. If my notes are correct, the shrine here is going to be one where we have to sacrifice a rampage relic. So I'm actually gonna sit that one out. Gonna just tag it to double check. But I think that's just gonna be it. Also, we have to actually head back. Indeed, it is a rampage. Oh, treasure trove. I approve. Arcanum Sigillus. Oh, that's a legendary. Powered slime bolter. So this was definitely worth the dynamite. Okay, so Arcanum Sigillus is a legendary one-handed range. So that's going to be a pistol of sorts, I suppose. That has +2 to overload and reckless power, does ether and elemental damage conversion to elemental damage, and grants 15% chance to cast elemental seal on attack. Cool, 6 second duration, 2.5 second recharge, 3.5 meter radius, so this is just meant to litter the floor with just elemental sigils. This is pretty cool if you're gonna go for an elemental caster. I can imagine if you're going for a Panetti's replicating missile character, that might be an interesting weapon for you, because of the synergy with the elemental damage that you will be scaling for Panetti's build. See, slime builder, it's just that's a pretty common pistol. Empowered miasma ropes, that sounds pretty occultist to me. +1 to occultist is pretty cool. I think I got the Tome of Plagues as well. So actually, if I got 3 parts, and I get +1 to all occultist skills, which might be useful for the Necromancer occultist playthrough. Rifthound leg wraps, that's just a pretty common one, actually. Level 66. Okay, so let's hand in our questies. Pine Baron's Rift. Oh, Bloodbriar is dead. Get some reputation. What do you need? Kill or Blood Feast. Oh. So our Black Legion reputation is currently firmly on its way to getting revered. 10,000 is only needed. Problem is, you can only get reputation from doing bounties and from killing the outcasts, which basically means just grinding Anasteria over and over and over again, because I think she's the only outcast person in the entirety of the game. So that's a little dicey. But, well, for now, we're just going to do all the quests we can. That should get us at least 4,000 or 5,000 XP, I think. And maybe I'll just run some bounties from time to time. But yeah, for now, I think we have played for long enough. Now we did the 2 waves of the quests. So next time, of course, we're gonna go into the Fort Heron. No, not Fort Heron. Tyrant Hold to kill the Blood Feast, the Ruthless. But that's usually more a bit of a longer trip. So for now, I'm gonna leave you with that. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.